BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Whoa, it's showtime, everybody. And that means it's, what day is it? It's usually we're on Thursdays, but it's a Wednesday. So we're doing the 243rd episode of the BraveMaker podcast. I'm doing a little bit out of my normal sync because the film festival is coming up, and it's been tradition the weeks before our film festival, which is every July for 6 years in a row. I do a roundtable of conversations with filmmakers who we have selected to show their films. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Tony Gapperstone. Pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a Caucasian guy wearing yellow glasses and my BraveMaker shirt. Lots of pink and black happening on my body. Behind me, big pink letters that say BraveMaker, a faux green wall that will be on our step and repeat red carpet at the film festival, and a striped wall to my right. We do inclusive descriptions so that everybody feels like they can be a part of our conversation. I'm a filmmaker, writer, director, actor living in Redwood City, California, and I love getting to do this. For 243 conversations, we have been introducing you all to the people who make movies as a way to hopefully encourage you to go after your creative goals as well. So I have 4 filmmakers today from all around the world, I get to say today, which is kind of great. So they are going to be coming on here, introducing themselves and telling you a little bit about their film. So let's introduce to the 243rd episode of the BraveMaker podcast our filmmakers. Congratulations, filmmakers. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Let's go. Frederica, why don't you introduce yourself first? Tell us who you are. Give a quick description, pronouns, in inclusive description, physical if you want to do, where you're from, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Hey, my name is Frederica Meek. My pronouns are she, her. And I am living in Los Angeles, originally from Chicago. Go Chi-Town. Mm-hmm. And I am a writer, producer, actor in the short film called Always. I'm so excited to be here. Right
on. Love it. And do we have another Chicago person in the room today, Jennifer? Are you in Chicago?
Hi, I'm actually I'm from Kansas City, but I live in LA. So
were you in Chicago at one point? Were you in Chicago?
No,
okay,
no.
Why am I thinking? All right, I thought
Chicago.
I'm from Chicago too, but you're in LA. You're from I grew up in Chicago. Yeah, for sure. Jennifer from Indy. What?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, KC Mogo Chiefs. My name is Jennifer Marie, pronouns she and her. I am right now rocking my Juneteenth shirt. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. And I am wearing some new fresh braids, just a little bit to add to it. And I'm super excited to be here. I live in Los Angeles now. I am an actress, a stand-up comedian, a writer, and a director. And my film is The Ally, which I wrote, produced, directed, and I have a little small part in there. Not because I wanted to, because sometimes you have to. We'll talk about it soon. Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna make a good story. That's gonna make a good story. Okay, let's go. Sharav, you're up next.
I am Saurav. I'm a filmmaker. I currently live in the Bay Area, but as you can tell from my accent, I spent a lot of time in Boston. But I'm originally from India. I have two films playing at this fest. One is called Einstein's Twin, and the other one is called Amelia Runs Through a Meadow. And thank you, Tony, for selecting them and also inviting us onto this podcast. Really excited about the fest.
Saurav, my apologies. I've known you for like a year and I've mispronounced your name, but I'm glad that you're here.
It's fine. I've been called worse.
And if I'm same with me with my last name at least.
That's why I clarified.
You asked me how to say it, which I love. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, Saurav has the best looking picture, and I'm so jealous. I thought I had a decent looking camera, but I'm like, I need to look like that. Yes. All right. And all the way from Kenya today, it's like, is it 4 a.m? What time is it over there?
It is 2:39 a.m.
Yes. That is dedication. 2 nights in a row you have stayed up to hang out with us. So thank you. Go ahead and do your intro.
Yeah, hi. My name is Neha Shah. I'm from Kenya, Nairobi specifically. Where are my peeps at? 254. Come on. My pronouns are she, her. And I have a short film called Love Sweet Sound. Oh, okay. So I have two buns. I'm wearing glasses. I'm Asian. And I have this really cool mustache scarf. Ooh, look at my little mustache.
All the creativity coming out from Kenya over here. Well, good. I'm glad that you're here from Nairobi. So you four represent our short filmmakers, selected short filmmakers, and I'm very excited for you all to share about how you brought your project to life, what you learned. And if you're watching live, I see there's a number of you watching live. Feel free to throw comments in the chat. We also have our producer on the other side, Amy, who might be selecting some things to quote, but we're really glad that you're all here. And yes, happy Juneteenth. So let's start with our opening night selection. The Ally is going to be playing out with Leah Knauer, one of our VIP guest honorees. Very funny person. Let's hear about your short film and why you decided to make it. Anything that you want to share about it.
I love this so much. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be doing this on Tony. You don't even know your timing is perfect to do this on Juneteenth, because The Ally, if you can't tell with the play on words, yes. And if you know Leah at all, she is a hilarious comedian. She's so much more than that. She's a beautiful person, but she's a hilarious comedian that everyone will know. I've worked with her. As I said, I do stand up and I act as well. So we've worked before. And this was my first short film that was a narrative that I directed and wrote. And before I even completed it, as I was making this character, Jan, who I'll tell you guys about, she was who was playing this role in my head. If she was saying yes, for sure I was calling her. So now as an actress, I know when they say, you know who you want a lot of times, and it doesn't have anything to do with your performance. So as far as if you don't get an audition, she was the one. I knew it whenever I was writing it, because she could take what Jan is going to have to go through. So just so you guys know, the log line for The Ally is basically an energetic young white woman has pure intentions of supporting the Black community, but will her lack of awareness outweigh her love for their culture and cost her promotion at her dream job? That is where it gets tricky, because Jan is excited, but sometimes there's little microaggressions that happen by accident. Sometimes people do it on purpose, but not Jan. We love Jan, but Jan is taking one for the team, if you will. So she's out here to teach so many great lessons to my friends who are not Black, and for me, that's my experience. And that's why I love this festival. because I am a Black woman. I have experienced what you guys will see happen to Jan. That's why I wrote it. It was a comedic way of telling the truth, which we do on stage all the time. But Jan is taking one for the team, in my opinion, because she is Leah in this case. She is allowing us to use her as an example to go through this work environment where some things are happening to our other character, Makiba, where you want to say something sometimes, but you like don't want it to cost you your job as the Black woman at the job. So it's a great dynamic between the two actors, who's played by Ari Mays. She's amazing playing Makiba, but I just love them because they allowed their body to be used to tell this story. And it is a touchy subject depending on who you are, but it's also a thing that if we talked about these things more, we would gain wisdom, we would gain knowledge, we would gain understanding. And it's not just about Black and white, it's all ethnicities, all diversities, all races. It's literally DEI. It's just about inclusivity and making sure that we understand one another. So I'm so happy to be able to share this story opening night. Hopefully it even sets a fun tone, because again, it is still funny, but it's just a little truth, because it happened to me. So the hair touching, that gets a little tricky. So we're gonna talk about that in the highlight.
It was good. It was a really fun short. People often hear, I had some press. I had an interview today with a local news outlet, and they were asking questions about BraveMaker and our mission and the films that we select. And the lady said, I did all the research, and it seems like you're really choosing serious topics, and you really want to talk about justice and diversity and equity and all those kind of things. She's like, well, what if you find a film that doesn't, meet those topics? And I was like, well, let me just stop you. Don't think that we're just all about serious drama. We like a little laughter. We like to poke at these things too. It's like The Ally is a perfect example of that, because not everything that gets you talking about important subjects is going to be, trauma porn or anything like that. It's like, we need to laugh. And I found myself a little bit in that character, back in the day. I hope I'm.
No, but it's good, Tony.
I hope I'm better. Yeah.
No, I love that you said that, because all of us, and I'm sorry, I just want to say this really quickly. As a Black person, I'm gonna break the ice for everybody. But as a Black person, I do stuff too. It's just maybe not against a Black person, because I know, but I might not be as familiar with another culture or another ethnicity. And that is why I say it's fun, because we joked about it in a way in the show. But I like to learn. That's why I'm looking forward to these movies where you learn about other people's experiences. And that's how we are able to grow together and also unite. That's what, because we all are ultimately, we're living the same experience as humans. So we just need to figure out what makes us different and how can we love each other. So it's about love. It's about music, because I have my brother's music in there. Flight Camp, shout out to you guys. It's original music. And it's all of these things that we use to say, oh, it's funny, but now I know. Let me not say all Black people like fried chicken today. That kind of thing. So that's I don't either. So here we go. So again, it is funny. And please, when you come support on July 11th, after the daughter screening outside of Fox Theater, please make sure you crack up. I appreciate that.
That's for Marie, knowing all the things and saying the right theater venues. Amazing. Well done. July 11th. Go to bravemaker.com/filmfest. Let's move on. Frederica, we got Always happening with you and directed by Keena Ferguson, who's an alumni of yours. So glad. Tell us a little bit about your film.
Okay, I would love to. Okay, so it's so funny that Ally, went first. I'm actually a comedian myself. However, the first, and I've done like 2 web series with comedy groups, but this is the first project that I have written and produced on my own. And I'm a daddy's girl. And I wrote this movie, Always. I think I first wrote it like 6 years ago. And I was pregnant at the time, and I had to put it away because it was really close to me. And my daddy had passed on. So last year in January, I broke my ankle skateboarding. Don't judge. And I had to have surgery. And while I was down, I was like, something has to happen that makes this time that I'm down productive. So I pulled out that script And I looked at it. I'd made some changes to it. I added a few more pages to it. And Kina and I have been friends, wow, a very long time. And she was, she's making her way as a director. She's a fabulous director. And I gave her the script and I said, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? And she read it and she said, oh my goodness, yes. And she saw my vision and she was fantastic to work with. And the movie is basically about father-daughter relationships, and specifically Black father-daughter relationships. It was really important for me to showcase a positive relationship. There are examples of them out there, but I don't feel that they're enough. And we are neither the Huxtables nor the Evans family from Good Times. We're neither one of those. We were in the middle, and so we just had a fun relationship. And oh my gosh, hey, almost up, and that's my daughter, and she plays a younger version of me. And so so this is a tribute. It's a tribute to my dad. It's a tribute to Daddy's Girls, and a tribute to fathers who would do anything for their daughters.
That's awesome. Well, I'm a dad to 3 daughters, Frederica, so I can resonate with that. I love it. It's exhausting and wonderful, and oh my gosh, so humbling and inspiring of many insecurities. But so what I hear you also saying is, okay, we talk a lot about this as filmmakers, right? Like, what story do you want to tell? Why is it important to you? Why is it personal? So you're telling a personal story, but then you're also finding collaborators. You're saying, hey, Kina, would you do this? Would you partner with me? I wrote it. I'm going to be in it. That to me, I think, is what I love about being a brave maker, is you can't sit back and kind of wait and hope someone's going to drop a project into your lap. You got to get off your butt and make it happen, right? So can you talk a little bit quickly about that? Like how, some of the things that you learned about the collaboration process and working with the director and having someone else bring your piece to life?
Well, yes, I would love to. So it was a life-changing experience for me. I'm a confident person. I'm an actor. We all have that confidence, but just kind of like stand up, bringing your own story. It was so surprising to me in a positive way that everybody that Kina wanted to do this, that she felt. I was like, really? You get it? And she's like, yes, I get it. And then just the day we're shooting, you bring this crew together, you just get it done, right? That's kind of like the mantra, get it done. When we shot Always, I had not worn heels yet since I had my surgery. And so shooting that film was the first time that I had put heels on. And should I have tried before? Yes, I should have. Did I? No, I didn't. I was all about, the process. So it's all about just a learning and accepting that people believe in you it's one of the most gratifying feelings. It really is.
So Kina saying yes to you, Kina bringing your story to life, that did do something for you. And I think,
it really did.
Yeah, and I think what I also am reminded too is like the tribe, the crew, the people that we work with,
she called her peeps, she called her crew, and they were like, yeah, what you need. And I was like, what? This is happening? Okay, let's do it. Because at some point you can't move backwards. You have to keep going. Mm-hmm. You have to keep going. Anytime there's a roadblock, anytime there's anything, like I wasn't going to let my foot get in the way. I wasn't going to let, we had, as you guys know, locations. What locations? Oh my God. Wasn't going to let that get in the way. Just we had to keep moving and get it done.
Get it done. BraveMaker 101. Get things done. Don't be a person who just talks about it. Get stuff done. Yeah, thank you for that. It's even right now, as we're 3 weeks and 1 day away from the film festival, we are, joking that it feels like we're making, 4 short films right now because it's a 4-day festival or one feature. There's so much work in coordinating venues and people and all the different things. And the same thing with making a film. There's always going to be something that goes wrong. Someone, breaks something, or prop doesn't work properly, or camera and it's really just about, can you push through it and make it happen? So I love that. We'll be here.
I kept looking around for my assistant while we were doing
You're like,
Well,
didn't I
did
have a budget for that?
I'm still looking.
That's right. That's right. I say the same thing to myself. I'm assisting myself.
Right.
Yes. Well, let's hear from you, Saurav. Let's hear about your two films. What do you got to say about Einstein's Twin and Amelia Runs Through a Meadow? Oh, you're on mute, buddy.
I was just telling you the secret to happiness, and I can't remember it now. Anyways, so Einstein's Twin was my first published short story, and right before we made it, I lost my job. So I wanted to see what a real zero-budget movie would look like, where all we had was 2 actors and me doing camera, sound, everything. The freedom it gave us was that we could shoot anywhere without asking for permits. So we chose to shoot it in San Francisco. And I would just rehearse the actors, the 2 actors, Karthik and Richa, and give them their lines. And I'd say, don't worry about where I am, I'll film you. Just go through the scene 8 times. This is the other film. So Einstein's Twin is about 2 people who are broken up 5 years ago, and they meet in a cafe, and both have moved on with their life. And the whole thing was about the twin paradox of Einstein, which has this experiment about one twin who leaves at a speed of light, and due to relativistic effects, when they come back after thinking that 10 minutes have passed, centuries have passed on for the other person. So I kind of applied it to relationships, that there is always an oblivious one and an empathetic one. So when you revisit a relationship in your head, the oblivious one wants to pick up where they left off, whereas the more empathetic one bears the whole brunt of the emotional baggage. So it was like 2 people, and the way because we couldn't really do good sound, so I wrote the lines in a way that nobody completes a sentence. It's always like either the flashback or some ambient noise comes in, like they're in a cafe, the coffee grinder comes on, or the train passes by. So it was an experiment. And Karthik, the actor, kind of submitted it. My plan was, I always viewed it as kind of like a work in progress. I wanted to shoot it every year, like with the same principles, and keep on adding to it till it became like a sufficient length.
That's fine.
And then re-edit it and try to find a longer story in it.
Well, I want to say something about that too. Is Einstein's Twin, for one, is a really super short film. I think it's 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I love freaking short shorts. Shorts are so cool because, especially when it comes to programming a film, sometimes we get, 20, we do have 1 or 2 25-minute short films, and those are, if they have to be really, really good to program a long short film. Short shorts have a better percentage of getting programmed because of that shortness, because you can put them in places before features and that kind of thing. But I will say, one of the things that's really cool, not only is it black and white and made with this kind of experimental POV, the thing that I wanted to point out is relationships are so important in this industry, even when it comes to film festivals. So Karthik was an actor who had been in a short film that our BraveMaker Academy had done. And I saw him at a mixer, and he's like, hey, I have this short film that I was in. And I'm like, well, dude, the program is actually, or the submissions are closed. He's like, but it's really short and it's cool and it's made by Sura. And I was like, okay, let's see if we can send it to me. Let me see what I could do. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it was perfect because I knew exactly where I was going to put it. So sometimes it does pay to ask, even when the answer might be no, but never hurts to ask somebody. Ask for what you need. Ask for what you want. You never know where it's going to go. So that's a really, really cool thing to consider. Keep going after the things that you want. Let people know what you want. The answer might be no, but it might be yes.
And we are always the worst judges of our work, right?
Sure.
We always think it's not complete. Like I say that after a while, I move the projects to my SAN, because if it is there, I'll forever be tweaking the color grading, trying to move like that one beat that doesn't sync. So it's like, I think George Lucas said it, that you never finish a project. You just feel comfortable abandoning it and moving on to the next one. So that's like a perpetual thing with me. Right. And Einstein's Twin, since it was experimental, it was kind of like it was always like that.
Yeah. And what about your other?
So the other one is a short, it's a slightly longer short, but still around the 10 minutes. For the same reason you said, I try to keep it between like 6 to 12. But with Amelia Runs Through a Meadow, it's about an 80-year-old woman who has Alzheimer's. And somehow she becomes aware that she's losing her memories. She has one last memory left in her head. And it's her as a kid running through a meadow holding that red pinwheel. And now she wants to recreate that memory before she loses it, so that she has a new version of it in her head. But she's in a wheelchair. It's basically four intersecting lives and how she achieves that or doesn't achieve it. It's about four women who have like all of their perspectives. So in a way, having memories worth remembering is a privilege, right? Like the lead character in there's a second lead in that, played by Vicky Beretta. She plays a single mom, a nurse who is a single mom. She works all the time, and she can't even have time to make memories with her son because she has to leave her son with her sister to take care of it. Her sister chooses to be a homemaker, so she has a different aspect. So it's about, and the lead character's daughter is a widow who lives with her mother, takes care of her. She works, but when her work takes her away, she hires a nurse. So it's like I am on the autism spectrum. So one of the gifts and curses of that, the curse is that I'm very bad with emotions, reading them. But the gift is that I have excellent memory. I can remember things. But it has always been my biggest fear that if I lose my memories, all I have is my charming personality, and that's not enough to get by. So
charming personalities. I love it. If you want to see any of these films, go to our website at bravemaker.com and you'll find the Film Fest tab. All of our film screenings now have tickets. Again, 3 weeks and 1 day away. You can get an all-access pass, currently $175. Prices go up on June 25th. You can see all of the films that you've heard about so far. The Ally is actually free to the whole community. We like to give some free things away. Always, and Einstein's Twin, and Amelia Runs Through a Meadow. And our final Filmmaker, Love Sweet Sound, is there are ticketed events and they're programmed with different thematics. So go through and check out all of the films so you can kind of get accustomed to what films are out there. There's workshops in between and lots of great networking. But this is a film festival, not just for filmmakers. We have a ton of filmmakers who come, but film lovers, people who want to watch films and then talk to the makers and actually meet them and maybe fund their next film. That's what I want to see, more funding. Last year, somebody gave $10,000 to one of our filmmakers. Well, actually, she made a documentary. So it wasn't to the filmmaker, but this documentary was so moving that an audience member gave $10,000 to the nonprofit in which the documentary was about. It was awesome. All right, let's hear from Neha. You're up.
Hello, Tony. Thank you. So just piggybacking on what you're saying, film has the power to change. There's a way that film makes things not in your face. You're not telling them. You're taking the audience on a journey, which kind of evokes their emotions, and it creates this change internally, not just externally. And that's what I wanted to do with Love Sweet Sound. It's a short film about just under 11 minutes about a woman who's recently blind, and she's forced to go out onto the streets of Nairobi for the first time. And it is there she meets Anthony, and they have this very unlikely friendship. So I wanted the theme for my film is visual impairment, blindness, courage, female empowerment, and friendship. Yeah.
And it's really
Sorry,
cool.
I'm pretty short.
I will say one of the things that really struck me with the film too was the sound and the editing. You know, you really draw us into the perspective, the point of view of someone who is reliant on sound and what that looks like, and building that trust. I thought, and a lot of our community that we are connected to is the disabled community. We have a great partner. So shout out to the Magical Bridge Foundation, which has been a sponsor to our film festival for 3 years now. They have these all-inclusive playgrounds that are open for wheelchair users and people who have sound sensitivities, you know, children on the spectrum. It's such a beautiful thing that I'm still learning about. And I felt like this short really does that. It really reminded me, and I know will remind our audience, that you never know what people are going through, what their stories are, unless you can get behind their eyes and behind their ears in a way that helps you create empathy for them. So I think you did that really well. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, it was really funny because when I showed the script to my sound designer, he's like, "You literally wrote this film for me."
Yay! Yes.
Because this is where he really shown his skills, his artistic, everything that he's built. And yeah, like so there's two layers for the audience. Can I talk about this?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so there is two layers within the film. So of course the audience can see what the main character is going through, but I also wanted to have them kind of immersed in her world of sounds, what she's also hearing throughout her journey as well. So we understand, when things are really loud, when she has control over her environment, the sounds, and also her feelings as well. Sorry, I'm a bit. It's really strange to be in front of the screen, but hey.
Yeah, may I say something?
Sure.
I think we should take, as filmmakers, especially filmmakers who make movies under constraints, we should take this time to thank our sound designers. Like, at the bare minimum, a movie is a black screen with a great sound design and a mix and a music. That's like, you don't even need an actor. It could be somebody just reading out lines, or you just showing a black screen with great sound. And that part, especially in short films, doesn't get much. I love it that you designed your movie in two layers. And this is something that I just want to take this time and thank my sound designer Sukrit, who lives in India, and our sessions are over WhatsApp. And so this is an overlooked part of film. They're the unsung heroes, like the sound designers and the mixers.
And I mean, the reminder too for the collaborative nature of filmmaking. There's no other, I think, besides an orchestra. I was like, what other kind of creative endeavor requires like so many factors? Like when you're a writer, or you're a sculptor, or you're a painter, those art forms are awesome, but you don't have to like depend on other people, which makes it like very vulnerable too, because I need the editor, I need the sound designer, I need all these people, and if they don't follow through, then oh my gosh, I'm falling flat on my face. So yeah, I think that's a great point to make, which is kind of funny because we do emphasize that when it comes to our question and response time and panel. We like to have all of the people come up, but sometimes we have like 55 people up there. You're like, oh, well, that's what it takes to make a film. You all watch the credits. Don't get up and leave. Honor those people in the credits. Well, with our remaining time, let's jump back to Jennifer. You said you had to, did you have to jump in there because something? Let's hear something that went wrong and what you learned along the way. Anything?
I love that question. What went wrong and what you learned along the way. One thing is, I learned that as a writer, actress, director, producer, I love the orchestra that you just described. I love being this person. So as much as I loved acting, I really love the hard part of like, it's overwhelming. It's kind of weird. It's like, I liked that it was a little bit crazy. So I enjoyed it. And when I had to jump in, I wasn't ready exactly for that. But with the person that I had playing the HR director, she actually had an emergency like dental situation. So thankfully I did write it. However, you realize you don't remember all the words when you have to act it out. So I was Leah's scene partner, and it was me. Everybody else was flawless with their scenes. I was the one that needed more than one take to get the lines right. That was my bad. So I really, really learned that I don't really have to do everything. When I write things in the future, even my project after that, same situation, kind of. One of the people I really wanted to do it wasn't able to finish it, and so I did step in because it's smaller parts. But I'm not into making a big part for myself. I really enjoy the hiring process. I love watching people get to do their dream. Like, it feels so good I get it. I get it now. And that was encouraging for me. And parking for us, that's the other thing I say before I jump out of here with what went wrong. It was great. I didn't realize that the parking situation was what it was on one of the days we shot. And that was an unexpected expense that I had to pay for because I needed my crew, as you just talked about how great it is to have all these wonderful people. And thankfully the building kind of worked with me, but that little LA parking situation is tricky. So I learned that as well. And I thought we did enough scouting. Missed that part. So yeah, that was the main thing. But I shout out to everybody, cast and crew. Thank you so much for all your hard work and being patient. It's fun.
Jennifer, it's always parking and restrooms. Those are the first two things I check, especially if I have female cast members. Then the safety thing also comes on board. But it's mostly around restrooms. Like, where do they have to go?
So many elements, right? We kind of forget. Like, dude, can we just make a movie and can everything just work in our favor to make this movie? I want to say, when you were talking about the problem solving, and the thing that kind of got me sort of excited a little bit was the idea that when a problem happens, sometimes a person could be wrecked by that, right? Like, oh, I got to pay for parking, or oh, this is not available, or oh, our contact for the set is an hour late. The first thing is to go, this sucks, it's horrible. I'm trying in my mind to change that. Like, oh, this is exciting. How's this going to work out? And sometimes it really works to be like turning on the creative problem solving hat. It actually can become fun. Maybe I'm just delusional, but trying to lie to myself. But there's everything. I was telling our team today that I can't believe some of the things that are going wrong. It's almost like, are you serious, universe? Like, what in the world? This restaurant that I love, that I just became friends with the owners, that are going to be sponsoring the film festival, just had a kitchen fire yesterday. And my first lizard brain thought was like, oh, I'm so sorry, because I think it's my fault. Your kitchen had a fire because the universe doesn't want the film festival to have, but that's a lie. I know that's a lie. But the idea was like, okay, now how can I get creative here? So I had to go to the restaurant for one and say, I'm sorry this happened, and let me give you all free tickets. You all need to come to the film festival. So, okay, creatively problem solve, but now we got to find out how we're going to get more food. That's another thing. But you see what I'm saying? My first thought was like, oh my gosh, I suck and the universe hates me and does not want BraveMaker Film Festival to thrive. That's not the truth. It's just, this is life and things happen, right? So anyway, that gets me excited.
No. Wait a minute, Tony. Let me just piggyback before we move on.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person, that's something else I learned. You are the type of person that I want on my team. Because just like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because when I can't go and put the fire out, I need to know that the spirit of the person that's working with you is going to say, dang it, this is frustrating. But here's a solution.
Amen.
Even if it's not the proper solution, you're coming up with a solution.
Something.
We don't need more people to put
gasoline.
Gasoline on the fire. My brain is done. I've been working with kids all day. Anyways, we don't need that. We need you to say, dang, yes, this sucks. What can we do? And that's all I want to say. I always want to work with people like you, because I hope that that's the type of person I am when I'm on set and anywhere else for that matter.
Let's talk someday. Shonda Rhimes, I read an article one time where she was like, show running, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Bring me as many solutions as you can, but don't just bring me a problem. I love that. Okay.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Frederica, tell us something that went wrong that you learned and you got creative.
Okay. So I feel like for the most part, Kina and the crew kind of protected me from a lot of the big things that were happening, and bless them for that. Shout out to the Always crew, because you guys are amazing. But one thing that did happen is we lost a PA, and we lost our hair and makeup. We lost one of our hair and makeup people, maybe 2 days before the shoot. And of course I could have been like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I may have done that a little bit. But then I was like, okay, what do we do? So I asked around, I asked friends, I asked our other, our key makeup and hair person, who is like a big brother to me. I said, listen, do you have anybody else? Our person dropped out. And this person texted me and said, oh, you know what? I don't know if that's her voice, but it is now. Oh, you know what? I forgot that I had something else on this date. No. And I said, we've been talking for 2 months now, and you agreed to this. And literally 2 days before, now you have a conflict. But it worked out. Someone that I had reached out to actually initially, who wasn't available, happened to text me maybe about an hour after the person sent that text, and was like, hey, I know we talked earlier a couple months ago about me doing hair and makeup for Always. Well, the job that I had fell through, and I was like, look at the universe, look at that, and it worked out. It also worked out with losing our PA because I brought in another PA from another organization, and it's just the community. The community is just wonderful, and I just 100% wholeheartedly agree with what is the solution. Problems will arise. We have to only be solution oriented. That's it.
Let's go. Awesome. I love it.
Let's go.
And I hear you saying too, just always be thinking about backups because people are going to fall out. Do you have your phone? Do you have your spreadsheet? Whatever, that you can call those people and say, I need you. Can you come? And those sometimes are how people get jobs. Like, I don't mind being your sloppy second. Call me. I'm available. You know what I mean? That's really great. And
my best friend was our event, like the coordinator. She was oh my god,
the production manager, production coordinator.
Oh, thank you. And we used to sing in a singing group together a long time ago. And yeah, she stepped in and she was our production coordinator, and she's amazing.
Awesome.
She makes sure it gets done. It's all, like you said, it's all about, hey, remember when I did your braids 2 weeks ago? Can you come in and be a grip for me? You don't know what a grip is? Girl, I'll teach you.
Look it up and we'll see you at 6 a.m. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you, Frederica. All right, Neha, what you got? What's something you learned that went wrong?
It's really weird how you have this vision and the universe kind of tests you. But if your vision is really strong and what you have deep inside is really, really strong, people will come through. It is just weird how the pieces of the puzzle just kind of fall into place. So for one, I had won a short film pitch grant from DocuBox. The money was great, but it wasn't enough. So it was just amazing how while trying to figure out, how do we spread this? How do we pay people? How do we get things done? The private sector kind of jumped on board, and we had support for locations, the set design, the furniture, the lighting, the camera equipment, and it was just fantastic how guys just came on board and gave us so much stuff in kind. And that really helped with the film production. And then, of course, Africa No Filter came on board afterwards and helped me with the post-production grant. So I'm kind of looking at the whole picture here. But there was one time we had set a location date, signed the contract, and it was a week. It was less than a week. I think it was like 3 working days. So they kind of used the weekend and 3 working days. And they said, sorry, we were supposed to give you this one room for the house. And I'm sorry, we got guests coming in, so they've paid for it. So, you can't shoot here. And oh my God, it was just panic. Because we were like, okay, so where else can we, and especially within that area, where can we get another location? And thankfully, Landmark Suites came through and they were like, yeah, sure, use it for the whole day. We don't mind, and it was just brilliant. So it's just like, if you have this vision, which is really strong, and you have the force to do it, like everything will just come through. And it's amazing.
It sounds so cheesy and cliche, but you have to believe, because when everything goes wrong, somehow it's going to work out, and it probably will work out different, right? Like I wasn't expecting this venue or this offering or this in-kind donation, but boom, we'll work with it. We'll make it work. Yeah. I think
exactly
that thing makes me feel like, almost like to expect it. Like, okay, I have planned as much as I possibly can. Let's just expect things are going to go wrong, and we'll figure out on the other side what it's going to look like, and it'll be really different than what I expected.
And having an amazing team, you can't. We're not selling our crew enough, I feel.
Yes.
They just put their heads together and they're like, okay, Neha, you're really stressed. Let us sort this out. I think for my continuity, one woman couldn't do it, and she's like, don't worry, I'm not able to do it, but let me find you somebody else.
Oh man, good.
Same with the makeup. he was there for the first day. We shot for 4 days, and then the last 2 days, he's like, don't worry, let me just sort you. We'll get somebody else, and I'll explain everything that he needs to do. So I don't know. It was just like the heart of the people, especially my crew and cast, was just amazing. I can't sell them enough.
Good. Sell those people and hire those people. All right.
Exactly.
Rounding up. Last but not least, what do you got, Saurav? What did you learn? What went wrong? Oh, you got to unmute. Stop telling us the secrets without me.
Yeah, no, I feel like Will Poulter in that meme from We're the Millers. You people have crew. So mine are actually very small, almost no budget productions. So it's usually friends and some collaborators who, like, we work on other projects in a formal fashion, but this one they just donate their time. So Unni, my DOP for Amelia, he is a wonderful local cinematographer, and he did most of the movie. But for some of the scenes, he was not available. So, and if he had waited, we'd have lost a couple of months. So I just grabbed the camera, and since I had a producer on this, a friend called Priyanka was helping me out on the production side, we just went ahead and shot scenes that were flashbacks. And even though my work is not as polished as Unni, in the end, it worked out in the edit because it kind of separates like a dream from reality, right? It's two different cameras, two different sets of lenses, and two different, I would say, qualification and skill level of cinematography. But in the end, it worked out. And I would second that thing that as long as you're very clear, I shot these scenes. I'm very proud of this shot. So the point is, you have an ideal version, right? But films, when you make them, they are shared hallucinations. Everybody, it's like 6 drunk people trying to describe a pink elephant. And if you put them all together, you end up with a film. As long as all of them are thinking of an elephant, it will match. So as a director or the leader of the team, you have to make sure that everybody who is in there is invested in making the film. And you are very upfront about the constraints. And if you're all together, you can pull it through. Like, these are shot by Unni, so they look much more professional. The ones I shot, so then we added a grain and we kind of embraced it. And the second lesson I have learned throughout making this with friends and really on low budget is that you have to be ready to, when you're working in no budget, you cannot make like a scale model of like $1 million movie. You have to, the trick to low budget filmmaking is to make your constraints look like artistic choices. And that's sort of the first principle.
Ooh, that's a good one. Make your constraints look like artistic choices.
And
Ooh,
don't pretend.
love
Right?
it.
Like,
Love
because
it.
I have a face for radio, so I never go in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But and I am deaf in 1 year, so sound and music I pay for it because obviously I pay the friends and collaborators rate, but there are people who are invested in this. Like Spencer Keane did an amazing score for Amelia, which actually added a lot to the film, and he didn't charge for it because he loved the script. So I gave him a very nice dinner. But you will find people. If you make something, like, we are storytellers, our purpose on this world is to tell stories. If you tell stories, those stories will resonate with people who want those stories told or to want to listen to them, and you will find a way. Maybe it was not like what you're thinking of, but it's almost like the setup of Canterbury's Trail, right? Everybody sits down, tells a story, and then a common narrative emerges. So that's what my experience has been making films. That's why I make one every 6 months, because this is my way of connecting with people.
All right, everybody, you heard it here, episode 243. All these filmmakers, besides Neha, who's going to be staying in Kenya, because we don't want her to spend $5,000 to, unless somebody out there wants to drop a plane ticket in her email. She'll fly over.
$5,000 is a feature too.
I don't know. But all that to say, these filmmakers will be with us July 11th through the 14th. Go to BraveMaker.com. Get your tickets today. Please make sure you support these filmmakers, and shout out to all the indie creators who are out there. Follow us on our YouTube page. We will be having lots of content to be coming out in the coming months. Our team is working super hard to create a fantastic festival. I'm so proud of what we are accomplishing and the obstacles that we are having to face with resilience and perseverance. It is happening. So come out July 11th through the 14th to the BraveMaker Film Festival in Redwood City, California. Tickets are still on sale. Right now, they're $22 a film and workshop, and all 4 days could be $175, but tickets go up on June 25th. All right, you filmmakers, keep going, keep making things. We will be having a live podcast for episode 250 on July 11th. That tickets are available now if you go to our website at bravemaker.com/filmfest. Y'all have been great. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I wish you lots of money and creativity and lots of problem solving when the problems come. Solutions, yes, get it.
Tony.
All right. Thank you so much, y'all. Really
thank you guys so
y'all.
much, BraveMakers. You guys are the bomb.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon, everybody. Stay tuned to this channel for more filmmakers and cool stories with us, filmmakers, actors, and creators of all kinds. All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.